Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I promise to update daily and I would really appreciate the gesture. If you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing the lovely 2015 to present A Lange Sohne 1815 Chronograph Boutique Edition. A timepiece 39.5 millimeters in white gold. It wears easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. The watch is considerably slimmer than the well-known datograph. The timepiece approximately 2 millimeters thinner than the datograph at 11.4 millimeters thick with a nicely domed bezel that slides underneath any dress cuff. Measuring from lug to lug, 48.4 millimeters. The lugs also have a tightly downturned profile. So this is a watch that I can recommend in good conscience for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. There's a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs so you can fit any number of straps in that universal size, and the watch wears easily and gracefully. Taking a closer look at the strap, you'll appreciate that it is a semi-gloss, large rectangular scale alligator leather in black with a monotone stitch, a folded edge, unbolstered. It's calfskin on the underside, and you can see it is a new A Lange Sohne factory strap. Jumping over to the pin buckle, white gold like the watch. It's handsomely faceted externally and thoughtfully engineered. It's one of the few pin buckles I can say is actually engineered for two reasons. First, the bridge is raised over the prongs externally so that the strap, rather than stacking up underneath the buckle, sits in the buckle when it's on your wrist, so it's flatter. There's also a retaining bar built into the pin buckle system so that if you're like me and you use that smallest hole or even punch new holes closer to the center, you're going to find that you have to strap your watch down rather tightly, and oftentimes that's when the strap becomes pinned on the pin, so to speak. This retaining bar prevents the strap from getting too tightly drawn down onto the pin, so it's easier to remove without histrionics or disaster. The case band, handsome, simple, but nuanced in its way, with a break between the polish of the case back and the bezel, contrasting against the satin finish longitudinal of the mid-case. The lugs are dramatically stepped out. As you can see, they are all black polished. There's a very subtle transitional bevel on their side, and then the bezel itself is polished with a domed profile. One of the features of the second generation 1815 chronograph that pretty much no one loved was the loss of the much admired Rayhaut flange scale outboard on the original 2004 to 2008 1815 chrono. So when the watch came back in 2010, reception was rather cool. Well, for 2015 with this boutique edition, Lange has given the people what they want. With a new flange, silver with blue calibrations, we have a pulsation scale. That can be used in conjunction with the chronograph to gauge the pulses of patients. And you simply start the chronograph and you let it run for 30 seconds. Wherever you stop it after 30 seconds, you look at the flange, and that will give you the extrapolated pulses or pulsations per minute of the patient. Now, the dial is galvanized silver with blueprint, which is lush and lovely, but it is in fact a solid silver dial. Lange uses sterling silver dials, so this is a precious metal watch with a precious metal case and lovely rectangular vintage-inspired pushers, but then you have a solid silver dial as well. And you can see that the sub-registers as well as the center dial are nicely sunken to add additional focal planes to this handsomely dished and deep dial. At center, one key distinction compared to the first generation watch, you will note alpha-style hands, but they are black polished in white gold rather than blued as in the earlier series. Now, of course, it is a flyback chronograph. The dial declares as much, so you can reset and restart. You can also stop, reset, and restart in conventional fashion, but the flyback gives you the ability to time two events in consecutive action or in rapid succession. Turn it all over. The lush and lovely A Lange Sohne manufacturer caliber L9515, 34 joules manual wind. It features a 60-hour power reserve and an 18,000 vibration per hour big beat traditional balance. Of course, if you pull the crown out all the way, it does feature stop seconds, and you can see this is the later Lange free-sprung balance architecture, as all of the adjustment for the timing is by virtue of these independent masses on the balance, the variable inertia masses. So this is a reasonably shock-tolerant movement. You can see black polished screws galore. Everything that's turning dark as I move it through the light is black polished, the highest standard of optical finish. You can see the same is true of the swan's neck regulator, and then underneath a freehand engraved half bridge. The movement, adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer, features German silver bridges. This is a alloy of nickel, copper, and zinc. So you can see it is a golden hued metal rather than the traditional rhodium plated brass silver Swiss movements. You can see all of the steel levers of the chronograph are satin finished. There are jewels for the chronograph train set in chaton, so you can see those screw-fixed jewels. That's a nod to the pocket watch era, when the chaton would be the precision component that would be set into the bridge, and then the screws would be threaded out and the jewels removed for cleaning during service. You can also see that there are immaculately rendered bevels or anglage on the edge of not just the bridges, but also the chronograph levers themselves and within the jewel and screw sinks. Appreciate that all of the screws featured chamfered slots, and there are perfectly aligned glasuta stripes. We're not in Geneva, they're not Côte de Genève, but glasuta stripes across the bridges. A column wheel system, you can see the column wheel system in operation with its levers and horns. It is a crisp column wheel and a lateral clutch that is fully jeweled, an impressive refinement for a component that often uses shortcuts such as bushings. No penalty for a lateral clutch here. Let me allow you to hear the column wheel action. And then finally, you can see that the timepiece is big open and the movement is deep, so you can appreciate this movement from any angle, not just directly overhead. Big slow beaten 18,000 vibration per hour balance with an overcoil hairspring made by hand to help it keep excellent time in any position. This is as good as it gets. See it and make it yours on the Watchbox.